Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
I don't know. I have two cameras on.
You're on two different devices for some reason?
Yeah, I was having technical difficulties at first, so I tried to do it on my phone. I'm going to disconnect from one of them.
What are you here for?
I had a ticket at the airport.
Not with me, not today.
It was at
Judge
10 a.m.
Green?
It was with Judge Lisa Martin.
Not a ticket, not today. I don't have airport cases today. Do you have your notice?
I don't have the actual notice, but I have the online version of it that told me that my case number, and my case number is 10 a.m. I even
If you
called.
give me, ma'am, if you give me 1 second, I'll get you where you need to be.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is a ticket under your name Brittany Pettaway?
Yes. On the ticket itself, my name is spelled incorrectly.
It spells your name how?
It spells my name, or my first name is correct, Brittany. My last name is Pettaway.
Are you looking at it online right now or something?
I can though.
I have another case I need to call, and I would like to get you where you need to be, but I don't see a case number in your chat to me, and I need to know how the ticket spells your name. So if you have the notice to appear.
My ticket number is 21WM 01372.
I don't either, but I'm gonna Miss Pettaway. Oh, I see what's wrong. August 19th, ma'am. You are with me, but it's August 19th at 10 a.m.
Oh, it's July 19th at 10 a.m. Okay. I definitely am a month early.
But now you know that Zoom works. I'm gonna have you log off so I can call my 9 o'clock case, okay?
Thank you.
Have a great day, ma'am.
You as well.
My apologies. This is 210297 FY, State of Michigan versus Julius Robert Chapman. Appearances, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Erica Moses on behalf of the people, P78491.
Good morning, Your Honor. Police Court, Tyrone Baker, appearing on behalf of Mr. Julius Chapman, present to my right, P number 62647. We are ready.
State your name for me, sir.
Julius Chapman.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Bickert, I will spare you the lecture because I've already given it to you one time previously. And if I indicate to people that I start on time and they still show up late, I'm assuming that they either did not listen or did not care. And it doesn't matter at this point, but I would indicate to you that this case was called at 10:05 because sister counsel had something else to do. I understand traffic and I understand other commitments, but no one contacted the court directly to advise us of what the issue was. That being said, we are scheduled here today for a preliminary exam in this matter. There are two counts. One, assault with intent to do great bodily harm less than murder or by strangulation. Count two, domestic violence. There's a habitual offender fourth offense notice in this matter. Again, the matter was scheduled for 9 a.m. It's now 10:38 by the court's clock. Madam Prosecutor, are you ready to proceed?
We are, Judge.
Mr. Bickert, are you ready to proceed?
I am.
Does the prosecutor have any preliminary matters to dispose of?
Judge, I would ask for mutual sequestration, but I have my first witness present in the courtroom today.
Mutual sequestration order in place. If there is anyone who is viewing this matter on YouTube or on Zoom who could possibly be a witness at this stage or the next stage, I would ask you to cease watching at this time. Mr. Bickert, any preliminary matters?
I would just join the motion to sequester. No.
Thank you. Ma'am, your first witness.
Judge, the people call Miss Dominique Mosley.
Ms. Mosley, I'm going to have you come right up to this podium. Raise your right hand for me, please. Spell your first and last name.
DOMINIQE, last name MOSLEY.
Do you swear or affirm testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You're going to come up this little ramp and have a seat in the purple chair. You're going to pull up to the microphone. Your testimony will be recorded. From time to time, I might look over to her to make sure she's picking up your voice.
Okay.
There might be times where one of the attorneys objects, and that means for you not to respond to whatever's been asked, and we'll deal with that as an outside legal matter, and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
Ready? Ms. Moses.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Mosley, are you familiar with an individual by the name of Julius Chapman?
Yes.
How are you familiar with him?
I dated him in around December.
Okay. So how long did you date him for?
Maybe a month.
So you started dating him December of 2020?
2020, yeah.
Okay. And on or about January 29th of 2021, were you still in a relationship with Mr. Chapman?
There was no relationship. It was just friends.
Okay. Do you see Mr. Chapman in the courtroom right now?
Yes.
Can you please identify him by pointing and saying something he's wearing?
Pink shirt.
Your Honor, I'd ask for in-court identification for exam purposes only at this time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Mosley, on or about that January 29th, 2021, were you at 8813 Parkwood?
Yes.
Is that in Van Buren Township?
Yes.
On or about that date, is that your home?
Yes.
On or about that date, was Mr. Chapman at your home with you?
Yes.
Did something happen that day at your home that brings you into court right now?
Yes.
What exactly happened?
We were laying in the bed talking, and I guess he wanted me to set his uncle up for money. He was telling me what I needed to say to his uncle to get money from him, and he mentioned another guy that stayed out of state, which I think it was New York. I'm not sure. He was getting angry at me because he wanted me to dance. He wanted to video record me, and
I'm sorry, he wanted you to go where?
he wanted to video record me
Okay, thank you.
on his phone.
Okay, let me stop you right there. So when you say, what exactly was Mr. Chapman saying about in reference to money, as you mentioned?
Money. He wanted me to set his uncle up for money.
What
Like-
exactly does that mean?
Prostitute, I guess.
Okay.
To get money from his uncle. I guess his uncle is bedridden. He disabled.
And was Mr. Chapman asking you to do these things at that time?
Yes.
Okay. And what was your response?
I was like, no, I didn't want to do it. And he was yelling at me. And that's when it started into an argument. And he put his hands on me. He snuck me, put me down in the bed, had his hand around my neck.
Okay.
I was down for a minute, like 2 minutes or 3.
So how long would you say that this argument lasted before it became physical?
It went on, it was on and off. It lasted for at least 40 minutes,
Okay.
45.
And this whole conversation, did it take place in your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And were you both on the bed at the time?
Yes.
Okay. So at the time that Mr. Chapman first touched you, when did that occur?
When we was talking about video recording, he was yelling, and then he held me down again. He used his legs and wrapped them around me and threw me back on the bed, and I couldn't breathe.
At the time that he first touched you, were you laying down or sitting up?
I was sitting up.
Okay. And at the time that he first touched you, you indicated on the record that he pinned you down, is that correct?
Yes, he pinned me down.
Okay, and how did he do that?
He took his legs and wrapped them around me.
Okay. Were you on your back at this time?
I
On the
was
bed?
sitting up.
At any point in time, were you on your back on the bed? Okay, when was that?
You said on my back?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I wasn't on my back. I was sitting up
Okay.
when he pinned me down twice.
And you indicated previously that at some point his hands were on your neck, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, explain how that happened.
He put his hands around my neck and had me pinned down.
Was it one hand or two?
One hand.
And how long was his hand around your neck?
Maybe
for?
like 2 minutes.
And at the time that he had his hand around your neck, were you able to breathe?
No.
And did you ask him to do that?
No.
Okay. And how did he stop doing that? How did it end?
He just let go.
Was he saying anything to you at the time that he was doing this?
No.
Okay. At any point in time after he let go, did he put hands on you again?
He put hands on me twice.
That same day?
Yes.
Can you explain to the court?
The
what
second
happened?
time he wrapped his legs around me and had me pinned down
Okay. And where were his legs wrapped around you? On what part of
around
your
my
body?
waist.
Okay. And again, at any point in time, did you ask him to put hands on you at all at that time?
No,
Did you have any injuries as a result of this?
no.
And when did you end up reporting this incident?
I had a trip to attend, so I reported it when I got back from my trip, yeah.
Okay. And where were you going on that trip?
Las Vegas.
Okay. When were you leaving for that trip?
The same day it happened.
Okay.
The
Is
same
that-
day.
Is it fair to say that that's why you refrained from reporting it at that time?
Objection at the
Yes.
meeting.
It's a yes or no question, Judge, and I can withdraw. No further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Bickert.
Thank you. Ms. Mosley, correct?
Yes.
Good morning, Ms. Mosley.
Good morning.
I'm gonna start with, I believe you were asked by counsel, when was the first time that Mr. Chapman touched you? I'm just gonna ask that question again. The first time Mr. Chapman touched you, what, if anything, did he do?
He put his hands around my neck.
Prior to you saying that Mr. Chapman put his hands around your neck,
Mhm.
had there been any kind of physical altercation up until that point?
He put his hands around my neck, and the second time he pinned me down to the bed once again.
What I'm asking is, before the time when you say that Mr. Mosley put his hand on your neck, you
Mhm.
say that was the first time he touched you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so prior to that, there was no other kind of physical contact, no kind of assaultive contact, correct?
No.
Had there been any other kind of contact between you and Mr. Mosley?
You said contact?
I.e., you and Mr. Chapman had sex that day, correct?
What day? Yes,
The
June
day that we're
29th.
talking about,
Yeah.
correct? You had sex just prior to what you're talking about. Is that true?
January 29th. Yes.
How long would you say that it was between the time that you and Mr. Chapman had sex and the time that you say this argument occurred?
Right after.
Right after you had sex?
Yes.
Okay, so you're laying in the bed, I believe you said was what was happening, right?
Yes.
Where was this at again? It's at your house, right?
Yes, in my house, in my bedroom.
So you're in your house, in your bedroom, you and Mr. Chapman have had sex. Can you give us some idea as to how long Mr. Chapman has been at your home up until this point?
He was in there for maybe 30 minutes after it happened because I got in the shower. He came in the shower and he urinated on me without consent. And I asked him, why did he urinate on me? He said, because I never been urinated on.
He said because you hadn't been or he hadn't been?
I haven't.
So just so I'm clear, because what I asked was, how long had Mr. Mosley been at your house prior to when the
And I
argument?
said 30 minutes.
Okay, so Mr. Mosley arrives, you said after he arrived that he came to you and saw you or other things in the shower, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Okay.
You're confusing me with your questions.
Mr. Chapman, excuse me, arrives at your house, right?
Mhm.
Or apartment or whatever, right? You with me?
I'm with you.
Approximately what time?
I don't remember.
Is it the morning?
It was the morning, but I don't know exactly what time it was, but it was definitely in the morning.
Okay, sometime in the morning. We're talking like 7 a.m. or closer to more like noon.
Probably 8 a.m.
So he arrives around your house approximately 8 a.m. or so. And this is the day that you're leaving out of town, right?
Yes.
You have big Vegas plans, right? How long did you stay in Vegas total?
Objection as to relevance, Judge.
She indicated that she reported the crime after she returned from Vegas. I'm just trying to find out. the
Objection
time.
overruled.
How long were you in Las Vegas?
I think maybe 2 days.
So Mr. Chapman arrives, and then were you in the shower when he arrived?
No, I got in the shower after I was getting ready to fly out. I got in the shower after the incident happened.
You got in the shower prior to your flight, correct?
Yes.
To get dressed to leave,
Yes.
right? Okay. And your flight was around 4
I don't
p.m., right?
remember. I don't remember what time my flight was. I think it was in the afternoon, maybe like 1, 2. I don't remember.
Do you remember telling the police that it was at 4?
I don't remember.
Would a copy of your statement that you wrote to the police help refresh your recollection as to
If
when
you
told
have
the
it,
police what that
if
was?
you have it, I don't remember. It was in January.
Let me ask you a simple question. Do you have any reason to dispute that if I would say, hey, it was around 4 o'clock, would you say, hey, that's a lie, it's not true?
Like I said once before, I do not remember what
Okay.
time my flight went out.
So Mr. Mosley arrives in the morning and what I'm trying to figure out is, did you get in the shower after he arrived and before you had sex?
I don't know what, I can't answer that because I got in the shower after the incident happened. Once again, you keep asking me the same question.
I do, man, because they're basic questions.
Right, and I told you I got in the shower 3 times.
In fact, let's ask that question. How many times did you get into the shower?
One time.
Okay. And that one time was prior to you getting dressed to leave for the airport, right?
Yes,
Who took you to the airport?
I took myself.
Did you ask Mr. Chapman to take you?
No, he volunteered. No,
He volunteered.
yes,
Did you accept?
no,
And you never asked him to take it?
no.
Oh, by the way, before you got on the plane,
Mm.
did you ever call the police and say, hey, I was just assaulted?
No.
Anytime during the time that you were in Las Vegas,
Mhm.
did you call the police and say, I've been assaulted by this man?
I'm confused because you just asked me, did I call the police while I was on the plane? Then you said when I got to Vegas, no.
You're confused about what, man?
Your questions, they're confusing.
The question is, at any time while you were in Las Vegas, did you call the police, any police department, and indicate I was assaulted by my,
No. No.
just so we're clear, by Mr. Chapman, right?
No.
Never said that, right?
No.
You come home, how many days go by before you go to the police and say, hey, I was assaulted by Mr. Chapman?
I went to the police when I came back.
How many days later?
Maybe it was Monday.
I just want to back up to kind of the beginning. You indicated that you and Mr. Chapman had dated, but you indicated that you and Mr. Chapman had no relationship, you were just friends.
Yeah.
You were not dating, is that fair?
No, friends.
But you had sex with Mr. Chapman on multiple occasions, is that fair?
Yes, and Mr. Chapman gave me an STD.
So Mr. Chapman came to see you on multiple occasions. You and he had sex, you're grown-ups, you had a sexual relationship, correct?
Mhm.
Other than a sexual relationship, you had no other relationship, correct?
No.
Is it fair to say that you then learned that Mr. Chapman might have had a relationship with someone else?
No, I was not aware of that.
Did you learn at any time prior to Las Vegas,
Mhm.
while you were in Las Vegas, or after you returned home from Las Vegas,
Mhm.
that Mr. Chapman may have been seeing someone else?
I'm gonna object as to
No.
relevance, Judge.
There's relevance as it goes to credibility and bias. As to why this story may have come up.
I'm going to overrule the objection. I think Ms. Mosley already answered the question too.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
I-
that.
I'm sorry,
I
I said-
apologize. I just didn't hear the answer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What was your question?
Did you ever learn that Mr. Chapman may have been seeing someone else? In
Did I ever
particular,
learn?
a
No.
white woman.
A white woman?
Correct.
No.
Never received any information as to that, right?
Objection asked and answered multiple times now, Judge.
She's shaking her head, mumbling, saying.
I said no.
Fair enough. You would have no reason to say anything to Mr. Chapman about a white woman, correct?
He got white women on his page. I seen him with a white woman on his page.
Oh, you didn't see him with a white woman on
Yeah,
his Facebook
on his
page, correct?
Facebook page, yeah.
Did you ever converse with Mr. Chapman about that?
Maybe.
Just a little bit ago, I just asked you if you had any information.
You said,
Ma'am,
was I aware of him being with someone? And I said no.
Ms. Mosley, I understand, and when attorneys ask questions, they change the word a little bit,
Yeah.
but let him finish his question
Okay.
before you answer it, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's get right to it.
Mhm.
You leave for Vegas, correct? You then see a picture of Mr. Chapman with a white woman on Facebook,
Mhm.
correct? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Then when you return home from Vegas, then you made this report, correct?
Yes.
Prior to that, you had never seen Mr. Chapman on Facebook with a white woman, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Did you ever confront or question Mr. Chapman about who this woman was and why she could go out with him, but you could not?
We had altercations. We had arguments about things.
About that?
Yeah.
Okay. And just so we're clear, you and Mr. Chapman had never been on a date, correct?
No.
You indicated that this was, this started about setting up Mr. Chapman's uncle for money. You indicated that when you asked what that meant, that it meant something about prostitution.
Yeah.
I was not, can you help us understand what exactly you mean? That you mean that he was asking you to sleep with his uncle for money?
He wanted me to get money from his uncle, set him up, talk to him, have conversations with him to get money from him.
Okay. You said that Mr. Chapman wanted to video record you.
Mhm.
Did Mr. Chapman ever video record you that day?
Yes.
Okay. Doing what?
Sex.
Okay. Was that before or after the argument?
This is before.
Okay. Mr. Chapman arrives, he's there for 30 minutes. You then proceed to do whatever you do and have sex and enjoy your company, correct?
Mhm.
All right. And then there comes a time where you now have to get ready to go to the airport, correct?
Yes.
Get up, you go take a shower, correct?
Yes.
And is it your testimony that it's then while you're in the shower that then Mr. Chapman comes to the shower and pees on you?
Yes.
Okay. The physical altercation that you had, did that occur before or after you got the shower?
Before.
Okay. So you had this physical altercation with Mr. Chapman that started with him putting his hands around your neck
Yes.
and pinning you down
Yes.
on the bed. Was he
Yes.
standing up or was he on the bed also?
He was on the bed.
Okay, so is he laying down?
Yes.
Okay, so he's laying down and he's pinning you down with his one hand on your neck, correct?
I was sitting up on the bed. He snuck up on me. He was behind me. He put his hands around my neck and held me down.
And at this point, you had both still been laying in the bed from having sex, correct?
No.
So he pinned you down, and then some point, let's go, right?
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't get
At
that.
some point, let's go. You said he just let go.
Yes, he let go.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happens next?
He pinned me down again. Once again, with his legs. He wrapped his legs around me and pinned me down again.
All right, so he pins you down with his hand, then you sit back up.
Yeah.
You sit back up, then he wraps his legs around you,
Yes.
like I'm doing. I mean, is he crossing his feet? Can you help us understand what you mean by wrap his legs around you?
What you want me to lay on the floor?
No, I just want you to verbally describe.
He put his legs around me, my waist, and pinned me down where my head was in the bed. I could not breathe.
Your head was in the bed.
Yes.
How close or far away in time from this thing that you're describing right now had you and Mr. Chapman been having sex?
We were done after.
Okay.
He did this after we got done,
And
not before.
And when you wrapped his legs around your body, where was your head?
I just told you in the bed,
And it
face
was-
down.
And it was not between his legs.
No.
He pins you down with the legs and you're pinned down. And then what happens next?
He held me down.
For how long?
Maybe 2 minutes.
Okay. And then you were asked earlier about how long all this took, and you said about 40 minutes. What happens over the next 30 minutes during this
That's when I got in the shower. He urinated on me. Got out the shower, got dressed, and I left for my flight.
Did you ever tell the police that you were struck during this incident?
Struck?
Correct, struck, like hit, struck.
No, I told him he put his hands, that's what I wrote in my statement. He put his hands around my neck.
Oh. What, did that happen one time or more than one time?
He did it twice.
Okay. So, the first time you said he pinned you down with his hand, correct?
Yes, the second
The second
time, his
time
legs.
With
Yes.
his legs. And then what? Then there was some other time?
No.
Did he grab you around the neck with his hand once or twice?
Once.
Okay. Just making sure. So after this, all of the physical things you just described all happened in the bed, correct?
Mhm.
And did you ever stand up and get out of bed and say, why are you touching me?
Yes, I did.
And when you stood up and you got out of bed, then what did you do next?
I said, why, don't do that. Why did you do that? And he was looking at me.
You said, don't do that. Why did you do that?
I said, why did you do that? I believe, yeah, I think I threatened him. I probably threatened him.
You said you threatened him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told him, don't ever put his hands on me again.
Okay. So don't ever put your hands on me again, right? Or
That's what I said.
did you say, I mean, I'm asking, did you say? Like,
That's what I said.
Or I'll do something?
I said, do not put your hands on me ever again.
Okay, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Then, what did you do next?
I don't remember.
You didn't call the police, right?
No.
Didn't call a friend and say, hey, this guy's over here assaulting me, right? Didn't call a family member, right?
No.
You went and got in the shower, correct? Okay. And you left Mr. Chapman sitting in the bedroom, correct? Yeah,
I'm sorry. You actually have to say it. She's recording it and I'm
Okay.
watching you now, but
Okay.
the transcript
Yes.
won't pick it up.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
And while you're in the shower, where did you leave Mr. Chapman?
He was in the bedroom.
In the bedroom, in your bed, where he was at the whole time, correct?
Yeah.
Mr.
Yes.
Chapman never even got out of the bed, did he?
Yes, he did, because he got into the shower when I was in the shower.
Fair enough. I mean, prior to you getting in the shower, during this whole entire time that you described, and then you got up and you said something to him, and then you went and got in the shower. During that time, he's in the bed, right?
He was in my bed, yeah.
Never stands up, right?
Objection asked and answered, Judge.
Out, y'all.
Thank you.
The next time you see Mr. Chapman is when he comes into the bathroom, right?
Yes,
While you're in the shower, right?
yes.
And then pees on you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then he leaves, right? You finally eventually get out of the shower, I assume.
Yes.
You say yes? Okay. And then after you get out of the shower, that's when you say, hey, get out of my house and just peed on me, right?
I didn't say that.
You didn't say that. All right. How long was Mr. Chapman in your house then after he peed on you in the shower?
Probably like 25 minutes.
25 minutes. And then, is it at this time that you then needed to leave because you needed to catch your flight?
I left, yes.
Okay. Did you leave because you needed to catch your flight?
Yes.
And you're on a time schedule?
Yes, I was on time schedule.
Do you happen to recall what you wore to the airport?
What I wore,
Yes.
I wore some black leggings. It was some Nike leggings, and it was like a burnt orange sweater, Nike sweater,
Mhm.
and I had on a black hoodie sweater.
You said the top, a burnt orange top.
Yes.
Do you? Okay. Did you and Mr. Chapman leave the apartment together?
Yes.
And then he got into his car and you got into your car and you went your separate ways?
Yes.
There's your woman here. I'm not gonna get too much. Did you make the trip by yourself or with other people?
By myself.
Okay. And then when was the next time that you had any kind of communication with Mr. Chapman?
He called me on Facebook and threatening my family. Said he was going to shoot my sister house up. Yeah,
My
my
question
sister.
is when?
When? This was like days after my trip,
Days after your trip?
a day or two. Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding your testimony. The next time that you had communication with Mr. Chapman was after you returned back to Detroit?
Yes, I returned back to Detroit.
And- Ma'am, and is it, you said a couple of days after you had
Yes.
returned back from Detroit was the first time that you had communication with Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Either telephone, texting?
Telephone.
Any,
Telephone.
ma'am, just let me finish and then you can answer.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Texting, telephone, any kind of communication with Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
First time it occurs is a couple of days after you return?
Yeah.
Correct? For sure?
Yeah.
Did you ever contact Mr. Chapman and say, hey, I made it to Vegas, I'm safe and good?
Yeah.
Do you consider that to be communication with Mr. Chapman?
Yep. It was communication.
And I just asked you 2 minutes ago, when was the next time you had communication with Mr. Chapman after you left for the airport? I
Mhm.
believe you indicated it was several days after you returned home, correct?
Hmm.
Do you still believe that to be true?
It was true.
That the next time you had communication with Mr. Chapman was several days after you got home?
Yeah, we communicated after I got home.
Okay.
Thank you. Any redirect, Ms. Moses?
Just briefly. Ms. Mosley, why, was the purpose of the Vegas trip for something personal or was it leisure? What was it?
Objection is irrelevant.
I was visiting a friend.
Overruled. You were visiting friends?
Yeah,
Was that the end of your response?
Yeah, I
Okay.
was visiting a friend.
Okay, and why was it exactly that you didn't call while you were in Vegas?
You said why I didn't call?
Why didn't you call the police when you were in
Because I was
Vegas?
waiting till I got home.
Is there a reason why you waited till you got home? Or
I
wanted to
just
wait?
was waiting till I got home.
Okay,
I didn't want to ruin my vacation. So
okay.
I waited till I got home.
And during the course of the time that you were seeing Mr. Chapman, you indicated it was for how many months?
A month, maybe.
Okay. And at that time, how many times would you say you slept together?
Probably like 4 times.
Did you
Yeah.
spend time with him outside of sleeping together with him?
No.
When you were with him, were you affectionate with him?
Yeah.
Okay. And was he affectionate with you, would you say?
Yeah.
I have no further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Mosley, thank you for coming in this morning. You can step down. Thank you for
Okay.
your testimony.
Thank you.
Your next witness?
The people rest, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Bickert, any?
No, it's.
Your Honor, the people move to bind over as charged. I believe probable cause at least has been shown at this point to show great bodily harm, strangulation in this case. Ms. Mosley testified that Mr. Chapman put his hand around her neck and she could not breathe for several minutes, Judge. And the fact that she could not breathe and then there was a continuing argument and he subsequently wrapped his legs around her body, Judge, pinning her to the bed. She indicated she did not give consent for that. She didn't describe this relationship as a dating relationship. However, they frequently had sex together in the time that they were together, and she described it as affections being shared between the two parties, Judge, as far as that dating relationship goes. I think for probable cause purposes, there is enough to bind over, Judge. I understand that there are issues with regards to why she didn't call, but that's not an issue for probable cause, Judge. It matters not that she called 2 days, 1 day, 3 days after the fact that she got home. She indicated on the record that she went to Vegas for a leisure trip with her friend. She didn't want to ruin her trip. It's not for me to say why she didn't call. The fact is that she called when she got back, Judge, and she reported it. I believe she's credible on the stand, Judge. I ask that you bind over as charged.
Mr. Bickert?
All personal opinions as to their credibility and style. Now, what we have is a case with absolutely no objective evidence at all. Okay, fair enough. As Mosley testified, my objection to the charge is that I don't believe that there's sufficient evidence of intent to do great bodily harm or intent or assault or strangulation. Ms. Mosley testified to, even if taking that face value, was that after having sex with Mr. Chapman, and him arriving sometime in the morning, 8 a.m. or whenever, that sometime, quite some time later, after they've had sex, after they've done whatever they've done, that some discussion was occurring while in the bed, and then Mr. Chapman pinned her down put his hand and pinned her down, that he didn't let go, and that sometime later, how much later or how, or circumstances under which were very unclear as to why this was occurring, that Mr. Chapman wrapped his legs around her body. I assume that's not the cause for great bodily harm or the strangulation. So we go back to the initial hand on the neck, pin down. I don't think that it rises to the level of assault or it's great bodily harm or strangulation. So my argument is just the simple facts that she testified to don't count to what's charged. I do believe at some point in my questioning, she indicated that her face was down and that she said, well, he wrapped his legs around my body and pinned me down and I couldn't breathe. I don't recall actually her ever saying that she was being choked by Mr. Chapman by his hand on her neck or anything about her being unable to breathe during that time. The only thing that I heard was he pinned me down. Be it as it may, additionally, it's not the only issue of when did she report it or that she, why she failed to report it in the time range. That's not the only issue. The only issue is that there is no evidence at all that it actually occurred. There's no objective evidence. There's no testimony of any kind of observations. There's not even a phone call to say, hey, at least we have some kind of, indicia that there was some kind of incident where this person responded to. What we have is a young lady who testified that she was in a relationship with Mr. Chapman, under which he came to her house and had sex, that they never went on dates, etc. That then she leaves to go to Las Vegas and discovers that Mr. Chapman is on Facebook with a white woman out dating, etc. That she confronts him about this, and that then when she returns from Vegas, she all of a sudden makes a report that Mr. Chapman has done these things to her. She indicated that she had no reason to have any connection between Mr. Chapman and the white woman upon initial questioning. And then upon saying, oh yeah, in fact, he does have pictures of white women on his Facebook page. And there was multiple times where the court could see that I would ask a direct question, get one answer, and then continue with the questioning, and clearly another answer is given that contradicts the answer that was just given. Your Honor, I understand that to an extent, the witness's testimony is to be taken at face value. However, the court is allowed to make some credibility determination. And in this case, what I would argue is that the combination of that, along with the fact that there is, one, no objective evidence of any kind of assault at all, and two, this kind of vagueness in what exactly occurred with her neck or her body. Specifically, again, we're talking about a specific charge. Assault with intent to great bodily harm or strangulation was added because putting and choking someone about the neck is a dangerous thing. But that's not what was testified to, that she was being choked. She said that a hand was placed on her neck and that she was being that. There's a difference. I could pin someone down by their arm, I could pin someone down by their neck, I could pin someone down by their hair. It doesn't mean I'm strangling them, excuse me. And so I would just argue that as it relates to that charge, there's not sufficient evidence. As it relates to, I believe, my client's charged with domestic violence. I'm sorry,
It doesn't, that's the misdemeanor.
It's a misdemeanor.
well, I understand he had the right to I have no.
Just very briefly, Judge, it was very clear in my questioning to her. I asked, when his hand was around your neck, could you breathe? She said no. She went on and cross-examination to indicate that her face at one point was down in a pillow and she could not breathe. We have not one but two cases that would qualify for this charge. And I ask you bind over, Judge. Thank you.
Well, okay. I would hope that counsel is not arguing that this wrapped around his legs around my body is assault by strangulation. Is that what counsel's arguing?
I don't believe that that's the argument. That's not your argument, just yes or no.
No, Judge, I'm
Okay.
indicating that there was
Okay.
clear
Assuming
evidence.
that's clear for the record.
I understand, clear for the record. The court's not distracted by white women and peeing in showers and 4 previous times of consensual sex. For the purposes of today's preliminary exam, I believe that the people have met their burden, the probable cause standard. The witness testified that the defendant at one point put his singular hand around her throat and she could not breathe, and she demonstrated that motion on direct exam. And then on cross exam, this comment was that he, Mr. Chapman, put her face into the pillow, or I'm sorry, not into the pillow, into the bed, and she could not breathe. That meets the people's burden. Mr. Chapman will be bound over as charged. His next appearance date will be an arraignment on the information of Frank Murphy on August 2nd, 2021. His previously entered bond with all of its conditions remains. Anything else on behalf of the people?
No, Judge, thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Bickert?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Chapman, we're all set. We're going off the record. Everyone have a good